The hashtag for today, it is hashtag FAPSA 2024. And just to remind you of the theme for this year's conference, it is building a united or a unified future through collaboration and partnership. And as I'm seated right now, I am joined by the advisor of the administrator of NSFAS, and that is Mr. Hlatshwayo. Mhlekazi, how are you today?
Fine, thanks, and you, ma'am?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think I just have two questions for you before I let you go. The first question will be, take me through the financial statements or records of NSFAS. We are quite interested as a country concerning that.
When the administration started, the institution was 2 years behind. And we didn't have 2022-23 financial statements and the 23-24 financial statements. But what has happened since July until now, September, we have completed the financial statements for 22-23 year, and then they've also been subjected to the audit by the AGSA. Now we are going to submit the financial statements for 23-24 at the end of October, and hopefully by the end of December they would be with the AG completed in terms of their audit processes. But the other scenario is that because December is another month in terms of being short, we might even look at it at the end of January.
Okay.
But then the challenge is that the administration period ends at the end of December. We will hand over to the next team. Thank you.
Now, you spoke about something very important, that is going through the audits and now understanding where is the financial position of NSFAS as an organization. What does that mean for NSFAS to have closed its books? Because I would like to understand, as a South African, you may speak about financial records and you say, no, we are done with them. But what do these books entail and what does it mean?
Remember, when you prepare financial statements, you are talking about how is the institution performing financially?
Absolutely.
Now, in our case, obviously, we're working with historical information, and that was incomplete when we started. So we had to complete that process. But on top of that, what is very important is that we need to also admit that when you deal with historical information, you cannot change this, the status, because what would have happened is that the records are already done. The only thing is just to consolidate them. Now, in our case, what has happened is that we have finished those financial statements. They've been audited, and the opinion of the AGSA is that it's an adverse opinion. And now, in terms of that, you know, when you get an adverse opinion, is that they do not mostly rely on your financial statements. But come to 2023-24, it will also be historical information, which we cannot change much. But the commitment that we have made as a team to the administrator is that when we leave for the 24-25, we want to leave a better, stable financial information and a position. And we are hopeful that by that time, the AGSA would maybe give us an unqualified audit opinion, because we have said to the team, let's have all the financial evidence that is needed so that the AG can say, we have gone through all your financial statements. Thank you.
You know, Mr. Hlatshwayo, I actually don't want to corner you, but I think I'm going to ask this question when I get the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Nomvalo and just speak roughly about having to be moved from, you know, being under administration. Remember when the former Minister of Higher Education and Training said they're putting NSFAS under administration, but then later when the new administration by Dr. Nobuhle came, it was a completely and entirely different story. She removed the organization from the administration. But I don't want to corner into that. But it's quite interesting that you have also tapped into it, because I believe the financial statements definitely speak to the administration of the organization itself. But let me not corner you into that. I'll ask that one to Mr. Nomvula. Before I let you go, Mr. Nomvalo, rather, thank you so much. I want you to tell us about the project, the closeout project by NSFAS.
The closeout project can be subdivided into two areas. Historical information and current information. Now, when we talk about historical information, it's 2017 till 2022, and then current is 2022-23 academic year.
Yes.
Now, what happens is that NSFAS would release funds to institutions, and as such, you are expected to do reconciliation between NSFAS and the institutions. Now, that's one area that has been missing. Now, we have been moving around the country, meeting the institutions, and we are seeing some progress in terms of them signing draft agreements that we are saying, you owe us so much based on the amount that we have released to you. And in the case where we owe institutions, we have agreed that we would sign them off and then pay them off. I can set one good example. There is a college called Poland College in the Western Cape. We are owing that institution an amount of around 8 to 9 million. And we have agreed that we'll pay that without any hesitation.
So that is the project, basically reconciling any amounts owed by the organization to any institution, and trying to make amends, even with historical and current matters that pertain to finances, of course.
Yes, the challenge with this project is that it doesn't affect institution and NSFAS only. As I was saying in my presentation, it also affects the student.
Yes.
For example, a student would not get his or her certificate because we have not closed out on this project. And as such, the institution would not want to release statements until we have reconciled. So our interest mostly is on the student, individually and collectively as well.
Would I be cornering you if I would ask you this question, Mr. Hlatswayo, and say, with NSFAS wanting to recover as much?
An example of Forte and the University of Pretoria. And we are not just talking about only 1 million, it's huge amounts, which I cannot disclose at the moment.
Yes, sir.
But also, SIU is also assisting us in terms of recovering amounts from the institutions and also from the individual students as well.
Very interesting. I think we would sit here the whole day if I would ask all of the questions that are actually on my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Hlatswayo, who is the advisor of the NSFAS administrator, and that is Mr. Freeman Nomvalo. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep those comments coming. It is #FAPSA 2024, and the theme for this year is unity, that is building a unified future, rather, through collaboration and partnership. See you in the next few minutes.